Hey everybody, welcome back to Mrs. Rattlecan's house. I am James, and this is the video you're going to see in lieu of the week in review, because the week in review can be summed up fairly quickly in this. The rewiring of the house has begun, and we're just kind of busy, well, rewiring the house. This is the load of lumber that we have had to take down just so that we can access our panel box, so that we could assess what we actually had to do. What we're doing now is we're in the process of pardon me, we're in the process of wiring everything that we can wire just by shutting off breakers. You'll notice this one long piece of romex, because this piece of romex is going to supply power to our water softener and then to the electrical outlets in the family room. And so we actually have most of that run. And so it is even labeled way down on the very end. Let's see if we can see it here. Water softener and family room. So, but it's not hooked up yet. We disconnected the power. And then what we did was we went and we pulled all of the old wire, replaced it with new wire, wired it up, and part of the problem it is taking so long. I mean, it's fairly straightforward when you look at the plans, because very simply, what I'm discussing is we're adding an outlet here. And this is going to be a ground fault outlet, which is then going to control this outlet, and then control these two outlets, and then control that outlet. Which sounds great and simple and easy until you get into the thick of it. And part of the problem is our power for this room came in, then it split off up there. The power goes up to an outlet that is in the room above us, the Asian room, and then there's a branch from that supplies power to a switch that supplies the power to the attic lights. And then that line comes back down from that outlet, and then it came over into this switch, which was then also split off, which then supplied power to this very bright box, which then spread out into 4 different branch circuits throughout this room. Some of it power, some of it lighting. So the first couple of hours we spent just looking at the wiring, tracing where we thought the wires went. And in this instance up here, this area up here, you can see where the wood is lighter. This was actually covered by a board. And so we couldn't see any of this. And we ended up pulling a piece off here and pulling a piece off there just to discover where all of the circuits went that came off of this one breaker. And so that took a long time to get that figured out. Now, once we did get that figured out, we were able to disentangle the power so that now we can correctly pre-wire in this light. Now, why do I say pre-wire? Originally, there's an outlet. There's an outlet box, a metal box in here, and how they got power to this was they made a trench in this cinder block wall. Guess I could follow my fingers, that would help. They trenched out this a trench in this cinder block wall, and then they laid a piece of romex in there, and then they cemented right back over the top of it. It didn't come, it wasn't in a tube. The same thing here. You can follow this outlet, and if you look at it in the right light, you can see where they trenched in here and where they repaired it, and that was how they got power to this outlet box. Same thing, they just trenched it out, they laid the power in there, and then they cemented back over it. So the original plan to just pull that wire suddenly disappeared. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get some surface mount boxes and some of those conduit strips, and we'll have to enclose that. So that's another one of those things where you're trying to figure out, okay, well, I got to cut the power so I can disconnect the box, so I can, pull this outlet out to see where this goes. And hey, why can't I pull this wire out? Well, nobody's going to pull that wire out. So you have to reformulate your plan based on that. So now we have it so that the power comes in way down at the end there by the water softener. That's going to go into a surface mounted GFCI box with a GFCI outlet in it. And then that power runs up along these joists where we have correctly drilled our holes in there, dropped our power down into this wall outlet through that conduit, run that power over across. Now we'll drop into that, then we'll drop into that, and then we had to snake our power back up through here. And then this became real fun because, well, first of all, there's a 2x4 right across through here. So what we had to end up doing was we ended up getting a long drill bit and drilled at a real shallow angle right up through here. We came down through this hole, went up through there, and that took a little bit of doing with some fish tape and some wiggling, and I think we might have done some weird kind of voodoo dance for a couple of times. So it's not like wiring a new house. A lot of what we're having to do right now is discovery and trying to figure out what we're doing. Mrs. Rattlecan wants these lights moved. She wants a ceiling fan up by the fireplace. She wants a regular light back here. So when we rough it in, we have left enough wire so that we can move it to the spot that she so designates, and then we can properly wire that back in, cut off any excess that we have to. So that is, that's what we did today. And we started at 10, and let's see, that's 8:30 at night. And so I've drilled a lot of, I haven't cleaned this room up yet. That's the other thing that I wanted to mention real quick. If you're doing a project like this, when it gets to the end of the day, you can do what you want to do. We're all big boys and girls here, but clean your crap up. With all of this, sawdust on this floor, it would be super easy to just slip and fall if you've got those slippery little shavings on the floor. Now we're also having to hear that echo? That's pretty awesome. That's gonna sound great. So now we are working on getting this room wired up as well. And it's just, again, it's a slow process because this box up here is a friggin' nightmare. It goes to just so many different spots. This is also the same room that has the infamous flying splice. It's probably really dark. You probably can't see that. That might be okay. Just so that you don't have to see that. So it's taking time. And right now, we're under the gun. So we're gonna be working a lot more and filming a lot less. And for that, I apologize, but for the work that will eventually get done, I think you'll understand, because you know, it's winter here in Ohio. It's not started snowing yet, but it's cold, and we're trying to do as much work as we can without having to disconnect the main panel box, which we will eventually have to do. And when we do that, well, that means we don't have any heat, and that could be no mas bueno. So anyways, instead of your weekend review, you've kind of gotten the weekend review, but you've gotten it firsthand by looking around at what's going on. Hey, be sure to like this video. If you have got something constructive and you can put it in a way that, you know, a guy like me could understand, you know, we love to hear from you guys. We love to read the comments, and we've gotten some really good ideas from people in the comment section, and you know, keep them coming. Be sure to subscribe, and be sure to follow us on Facebook. I know I mentioned Instagram the other day. I ain't got time for Instagram. I'm sorry, folks. I just don't have the time to mess with it right now. Maybe later. And then something about donkeys flying. Anyways, I'm James. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you have a great holiday season. Be sure to drive carefully, and most importantly, make sure you hug the people around you. Make sure you tell them that you are glad that they are in your life, because in the wink of an eye, they can be gone. Have a good one, folks. Cheers.
If you enjoyed watching this episode of Mrs. Rattlecan's House, consider checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, and to get the latest updates on our progress, like us on Facebook. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.
Perhaps we should have some wine.